Welcome everyone to Vested Interest. This is Shane back for a stock pick of the day video. We're going to take a look at one that used to be in my portfolio, LyondellBasell. This is one I sold not too long ago. I did not think the metrics on this one looked all that enticing anymore, and definitely with the weakness out there in the market with tariffs and everything else, it was one I was comfortable with. Even with the very, very high dividend yield this one paid out, I was comfortable with selling. So let's take a look at LyondellBasell out of the materials sector. Now this is the vested interest stock screener. This is the screener we will be running through and the criteria we will be looking at in this video. It must meet 5 of 8 to make it onto my watch list. If it was a company out of the financial sector, we would add in price to book. Back to LyondellBasell, you can check them out on their homepage, www.lyondellbasell.com. That's www.lyondellbasell.com. That is their homepage where I pulled this information from. LyondellBasell, ticker LYB, again out of the material sector, has been at the forefront of innovation in the chemical industry with a legacy of innovation spanning more than 70 years. Our journey began with groundbreaking discoveries in the creation of polyethylene, PE, and polypropylene, PP, essential materials in countless applications from automotive parts to medical devices. Over the decades, we've continued to push the boundaries of technology. You can read through the rest of this, but that is their bread and butter. Again, a material company providing those materials, polyethylene and polypropylene, or other materials for other manufacturers and companies that use them. Now, the reason we're taking a look at them, down 4.67% on the day. We are talking about LyondellBasell Industries, ticker LYB. Closed out the day at $49.55. Looks like they were up slightly in the after hours whenever I pulled this, but again, after hours goes from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, so they could bounce around all over the place over the next 4 hours. 52-week range as low as $49.27. So they are right up against their 52-week low, as high as $99.36. Market cap of $15.939 billion, a beta of 0.87, so less volatile than the overall market. PE ratio screaming high, 105.43, $105.43. That is extremely high, especially for a company like this. I do not believe their growth justifies such a high price to earnings ratio. EPS, earnings per share, is 47 cents. Earnings date coming up October 31st. Forward dividend $5.48. They are a quarterly payer, which gives them a starting dividend yield extremely high at 10.54%. But is it safe? Ex-dividend date August 25th. You need to buy them on the 24th or before to get that next dividend. 1-year target estimate at $62.11. So they, at least according to Yahoo Finance, do not see them getting back to their 52-week high and about $36 and some change off of that. So not even really close. Jumping over to the right, we're going to look at dividend yield theory to see if the company is potentially undervalued. It is just a quick check. It is not the end all be all. And just because it says a company is undervalued doesn't necessarily mean it is a good reason to buy. 5-year dividend yield average at 5.46%. Current dividend yield at 10.54%. Obviously, it is much higher, almost twice what their 5-year average. So that would speak to potential undervaluation, at least according to dividend yield theory. Now, their payout ratio is just insanely high, 1,146%. We'll see there's a little bit of a discrepancy here between Yahoo Finance and Stock Analysis, but even they have them, around 700%. So payout ratio is astronomically high, way higher than it needs to be. Very concerned with a dividend cut on this one. That's part of the reason that I sold out of them when I did. Going down, looking at free cash flow, December 2022, $4.2 billion. 2023, down to $3.4 billion. 2024, down even more to $1.9 billion. That was another reason I did not like that. And the trailing 12 months looks like it's going to be a down year again, $463 million. And keep in mind, part of the trailing 12 months does include 2024 numbers. So we'll have to wait to see how the rest of 2025 shakes out. But it looks like a continual downtrend over the last 4 years or so. They are pulling shares out of the market, $420 million in 2022, $211 million in 2023. 2024 saw $195 million. They're maintaining that, $321 million in 2025. But again, trailing 12 months does include part of 2024 numbers. Jumping over to stockanalysis.com. This is another source I go to, not affiliated with stockanalysis.com or Yahoo Finance, just two sources I go to for information. They have 14 analysts that have taken a look at this. They call it a consensus hold. Low estimate of $49. That would represent a 1.12% increase from where it currently sits. Average estimate of $66.07. Pretty close to what we saw with Yahoo Finance on the previous page. That would represent a 33.33% increase. High estimate of $94 would represent a potential 89.69%, and you could collect that 10+% dividend yield if you bought them now. That is if they maintain that dividend. Looking at some of their statistics, I like to take a look at return on capital employed. I want 10% or better here. 5.25 doesn't cut it for me. EPS growth, though, I like 5% or better forecasted over the next 5 years. They're looking at 18.06, so I do like that. But revenue growth, negative. Don't like that at all. That's not part of my initial screener, but I do like to throw it in here. It is part of my deeper dive when I look at the financials of a company. All right, jumping over to their dividend history. Quarterly payer, as we mentioned, again, payout ratio over 700%, 702.43. According to stockanalysis.com, Yahoo Finance had them over 1,000. Either way, that is extremely high. Very, very concerning. Leads me to believe this one is potentially, if this is a continual trend, maybe a dividend cut in the making. They are growing that dividend. They recently grew it by 4.63%. So, but should they be growing the dividend? That's the question. They have more than 1 year dividend growth. I don't know why it says that, but their buyback yield is positive. That means they are pulling more shares out of the market than they're issuing, which is what you want to see. And their shareholder yield is positive at 11.42%. They do pay out on the March, June, September, December timeframe, like most companies do. Going back in time here, March 2023, $1.19, raised it up May 2023 to $1.25, June 2024 up to $1.34, and the most recent was June 2025 up to $1.37. And if they do maintain that dividend, I would anticipate it will not be until May or June of next year before you see the next raise. All right, let's run them through the screener. Understand the business. Yes, polypropylene, polyethylene, they provide those materials for other companies to use to make their materials. Growing free cash flow? No, it's actually the opposite, a definite downtrend over the last 4 or 5 years. Growing dividend? Yes, but I question if they should be doing that. Dividend payout ratio is way above 75%, way above 100%. Dividend yield theory says they're potentially undervalued, but that is just because their dividend has shot up so high. And again, very, very concerning in my opinion. It is within 15% of a 52-week low, right up against it actually. Return on capital employed is not above 10%, so no check there. And it does have earnings per share growth forecasted above 5%. 4, is that 4? 1, 2, 3, no, 5. This one actually would make it onto my watch list, which is surprising. But when I looked at the deep dive of this company, and a lot of that is because it's so undervalued, right? Dividend yield theory says they're potentially undervalued. They are within 15% of a 52-week low. The dividend is growing, but that's questionable. And their earnings per share growth is above 5%. So yes, they do make it onto my watch list if I was going to add them. But I recently sold this one because when I did more of a deep dive into the financials, it's very concerning to me, even though it does make it onto my watch list. This is not one I'm interested in, at least not right now with the fundamentals the way they are. Let me know what you think of LyondellBasell in your portfolio. Is it one you're watching? Is it one you're selling? Would love to hear from you in the comment section down below. All right, that's it. As always, appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to show me some love. Hit that thumbs up, ring the notification bell. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Join us on this journey to financial freedom. Join the vested interest community. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of LyondellBasell. I do personally read and respond to the comments. I'm always interested to read your questions, opinions, or suggestions for future topics. So if you have a company like LyondellBasell you'd like me to cover in the Stock Pick of the Day series, drop it in the comment section down below. I'll try to work it into the rotation on a day it pulls back. And this is Shane signing off, wishing peace and prosperity to you and yours. And remember, financial security comes to those who take a vested interest. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great week, and we will see you in the next one. I'm not a financial advisor. You can read through the rest of this. For those of you who made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button. Share with anyone you think that might find value in the content. Drop a comment, and see you in the next one.